Meenakshi Sundaram sir and Sri Dilip Kumar Pal to come on to the stage and make presentation on Gram Sabha and Standing Committee and their empowerment.
Friends, I am back again. Uh, what I am going to do now is, I will briefly explain what we did in this group and then request Mr. Dilip Pal to go through with the individual presentations. At the outset, I want to congratulate the NIRD and PR for making this kind of a program. See, normally in the Panchayat Raj conferences, it used to be a one-way traffic. Somebody from the dais will speak and people in the audience will listen. And very rarely they get an opportunity even to ask a question. But this particular program is very different from the other programs I have attended. Yesterday, we were in 4 groups, all the 4 groups in the same hall. And in each group, there were about 10 people. Believe me, all the 10 were participating in the program. And I was sitting and watching. I had only given 2 directions to my people who are facilitating. Number 1 is you will not talk. If there is anything, you may explain what the issue is, but you will never talk a word about the solution. So everything has come from the participants only. And the second thing is, whatever they have said, you will faithfully record, and we will thereafterwards collate and prepare the total points. So what we are now going to present before you is what the groups have said. I want to make this point very clear. It is not my view. It is not the view of the facilitators of the group. These are the views of the people who participated in the program. And the only thing which we have done is, in some cases there was repetition. So Dr. Paul had taken the responsibility of going through all the slides and making them some kind of a cogent presentation, whatever he can. That is what has been done. We have about 25 slides, if I am correct. And since it is only a question of going to read the slides, I will request Dr. Paul to see that each slide is shown. We will not make any explanation. Kindly go through whatever is there in the bullet level, and in case you need anything at the end of this, in the discussion, maybe I or Dr. Paul will be able to explain what we did. This is the method in which we want to follow. Now, shall we start with the first group? There are 4 subgroups. Maybe I'll explain that. There are 4 subgroups. In the first subgroup, we were talking about the Gram Sabhas. As all of you know, Gram Sabha is the only participatory democracy in this country. We are calling India is a big democracy, but the honest truth is, it is not participatory, it is a representative democracy. We elect the people, we presume they represent us. Now, since Gram Sabha is the only participatory mechanism of democracy, we have gone through what we need to do to strengthen the Gram Sabhas. That is the first one. In the second group, we were discussing about the standing committees. See, again in the Gram Panchayats, as most of you know, it is the Panchayat president who is important, and the other members, they are only supporting him. If you have a standing committee structure, every person has an opportunity to say what he wants to say, and the standing committee's recommendations come before the general Gram Panchayat for decision making. So we were saying how to strengthen the standing committees. That was the second group. The third group, we were discussing the other mechanisms, particularly the self-help groups, how to link that with the panchayats. See, the Gram Sabha is at the village level. When you talk of deepening the democracy, you have to go below the Gram Sabha also. Below the Gram Sabha means self-help groups and watershed development committees, joint forest management committees, all committees consisting of stakeholders. So they say what they want, and that gets into the panchayats. How does it get into the panchayat? Does it go through the Gram Sabha? What should be the best method of linking the self-help groups and similarly the other democratic institutions with the panchayats? That was the third group. And the last one is the most difficult. That is linkage between MLAs and the Panchayat Raj institutions. See, both are elected. One MLA asked me when I told him, you shall not interfere with the Panchayat. He said, sir, I am also an elected person. They are also elected, I am also elected. In what way you think that they are superior to me or I am superior to them? So this is a very interesting thing. When you have two democratically elected institutions, what should be their linkage? So that is the one in which we have in the fourth subgroup. Now he will make the presentation of each one of these groups. Presentation meaning he will only read out what is mentioned there. If there is any questions, we will be happy to answer later. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Respected chairman of the session and dignitaries on and off the stage. My friends and colleagues, this is Dilip Kumar Pal. I am senior consultant to NIDPR and I am a project team leader for a project for creating model clusters. Next, please. First one is Gram Sabhas and their empowerment. Optimum frequency. As per state law, frequency differs from state to state. Generally 4 to 6 Gram Sabhas are held. This group is of the opinion, after a lot of debate, that 6 Gram Sabhas must be mandated by the states to make Panchayati Raj system effective. It is not because MOPR wants it, but the group members thought that it is quite reasonable. Not too many, not too less. Here are some best practices. Jammu Kashmir has mandated every first Monday of every month for a special Gram Sabha in presence of Prabhari officer. Chief Secretary addresses all GPs through VC on first Monday each month through a special Gram Sabha. We don't know whether this kind of system is anywhere in India or not. Back to village program, one officer is deputed for every GP. The officer has to reside in the GP for 2 days in a year. So only there are other good practices, but here only the group has put this only. Structure and mode of conduct of Gram Sabha. As per best practices in case of Delang GP in Puri, Odisha, 15 days prior notice by Gram Panchayat Secretary, awareness generation campaign before Gram Sabha. Travel cost is borne for women to ensure their presence in Gram Panchayat, and Gram Sabha are conducted in workshop board, not just Sarpanch lecturing and people listening. I remember one Gram Sabha, that case is with us, where all the members, about 2,000 people, are broken up into several groups to deliberate on 9 themes. And they came up with their suggestions. Based on that, they have come up with a fantastic GPDP. In Bihar, Tripura and West Bengal, issues are first discussed in lower Sabhas, Mahila Sabha, Bal Sabha, War Sabha. Then these points are included in Gram Sabha agenda. Prioritization of agenda items is done on public concerns to the extent possible. Grievances about school, hospital, etc. are taken note of during Gram Sabha, and community is made aware of activity steps in the particular scheme. Here is a good practice. Kerala always offers good practices. Virtual Gram Sabha is organized with citizens, NRI, businessmen, etc., of GPs who are better off and are willing to help. Clear agenda of Gram Sabha comprised of introduction, previous minutes, ATR, action taken report, discussion session, presentation on upcoming schemes, development report, ministry guidelines, and recommendations. That is the concluding part of it. The group suggests for follow-up of the last Gram Sabha to be the first agenda of the current Gram Sabha. That is linking with the earlier Gram Sabha. Videography, live streaming, uploading of geotagged photos of Gram Sabhas, and regular participation of senior officers virtually. Mandatory uploading of Gram Sabha resolution on Vibrant Gram Sabha portal. These are already done by many, but the group comes up with this addition. For transparency in Gram Sabha, preparation for use of citizen charter, live streaming, videography, displaying agenda, minutes of meetings on public information boards, mandatory uploading of agenda, mandatory holistic social audit on the lines of MGNREGF, monitoring of implementation of the approved works along with planned activities. For accountability in Gram Sabhas, local ranking system on the lines of PDI for service delivery at GP level, such as rations of schools, hospitals. Action taken report and minutes of meetings of previous Gram Sabha may be discussed in the current Gram Sabha. Quarterly report of action taken reports may be submitted to BDO Gram Panchayat. It is the suggestion of the group. Why is Ward Sabha, Mahila Sabha, Bal Sabha necessary? In most cases, they are not in the Act, but why necessary? The group came up with these suggestions. What should be the answer? It addresses hesitations and limitations faced by women regarding certain issues. So, Mahila Sabha. It provides platform for children to voice their issues in comfortable environment. I remember in a Bal Sabha, a boy was demanding a playground for them. And he demanded this in the Gram Sabha later. Prioritization of issues of all sections of society, development of conscious and inclusive Gram Sabha agenda leading to focused discussion. The group suggests efforts should be made for inclusion of senior citizens and other vulnerable sections such as widows, transgenders, different ables, etc., so that they can virtually participate in Gram Sabha. How to maximize representation with spontaneity and make decisions of Gram Sabha representative and inclusive. Dissemination of information well in advance, transportation and other logistics for reaching the venue, cultural activity to make it a festive occasion, to make it attractive, promoting Gram Sabha as a celebration of festival in the village, promoting children as ambassadors of Gram Sabha, provision for refreshments, invitation letters by name to all citizens, including children, to be given through SHG members. With your permission, I say this is what I experimented personally and with under guidance of Dr. M. N. Roy in 2004. So, in the one Gram Sabha, there was very little presence, but after that, the Gram Sabha was flooded with people. People were honored with letters. So, this can be, and in my training programs, I ought to propagate this. I was surprised to hear it from a person from Tripura that it is happening there. That is one good example, influences many people. Orientation of all elected representative panchayat secretaries for ensuring respectful and warm conduct function of Gram Sabha. How to make participation of women vibrant and their voice articulate in Gram Sabha. Dissemination of information well in advance. Compulsory participation of women, SHGs, Anganwadi workers, ICTs, etc. Transportation and other logistic support for them to reach, and also as it is being done. One Sarpanch from Belang GP in Puri, he was present, because he was saying that they do it religiously. Play section, creche facility, and swings for children. Women entrepreneurs, community leaders may be invited as guest speakers. Organization of Mahila Hearts, so that they can also sell things for women entrepreneurs. 10% recommendations should come from women participants. Encouraging female retired teachers, doctors and other female professionals for participation in Gram Sabha, so that seeing them others can articulate their voice. Free health checkups for women as an incentive, maybe at one corner of the Gram Sabha this can be organized. Ensuring availability of toilet facilities, maybe mobile toilets at Gram Sabha venue, and most convenient things for women members, such as afternoon. Penalty proposed for absenteeism in Gram Sabha. They have come up with the suggestion that issuance of notice first and then suspension for some time, so that, and also name and shame, putting their names of absentee ward members in GP notice boards. To ensure representation of line departments, which is a very critical issue, very rarely happens until and unless the Gram Panchayat can exert itself. Special meetings at district level about frequent absenteeism at GP level, how to resolve it. joint training session of RD and PR departments and other line departments for successful conduct of Gram Sabha. Quarterly report to be shared by RD PR departments with all line departments for attending Gram Sabha. Attempts are being made. Advisories are from MOPR. But the situation has improved a little, but it has to improve more. Biometric attendance of line departments, officers at Gram Sabha by their parent departments. This is a fantastic session. I don't know how much it will be realistic. To make Gram Sabhas free from dictate, capture or intimidation. Gram Sabhas are captured by many illegal forces, political capture, don capture, contractor capture, different kinds of capture. How to make Gram Sabha free? We talk of free and fair election, but free and fair Gram Sabha. How to do that? Videography of Gram Sabha proceedings through CC camera, presence of station house officer of local area to be requested for presence in the Gram Sabha to maintain law and order. But that may not be, anyway, I'm not going to make any comment, but task force including women, community leaders, ex-servicemen for law and order. How to link recommendations and suggestions of Gram Sabha with functioning of upper tier panchayats. Gram Sabha is not for Gram Panchayat only. It is a creation of the constitution. It is the soul of the Panchayati Raj system. So its activities should influence and support other tiers also. Activities which are not possible for taking up at GP level should be forwarded to the upper tier level, and which are not possible at that level may go to the district level for forward backward linkage and for integration. District and block panchayat members representing the Gram Sabha areas can be invited to Gram Sabha, and beneficiaries for the schemes of intermediate panchayat and district panchayat should be selected only from Gram Sabha approved list. So this is all about the presentation for the Gram Sabha. Now,
हमारा एक सुझाव है केरल की तरह ग्राम सभा का स्टाफ होना चाहिए। ग्राम सभा ग्राम पंचायत का स्टाफ होना चाहिए, उसका रिकॉर्ड होना चाहिए, परिसंपत्ति रजिस्टर वो होता है, लेकिन प्रॉपर स्टाफ नहीं होने से रिकॉर्ड नहीं हो पाता है, क्योंकि कई लोग आवास विहीन होते हैं, कई लोगों का वृद्धा पेंशन लगता है, बीपीएल कार्ड है, अंत्योदय कार्ड है, तो इसका स्टाफ के लिए बहुत जरूरी है, टेक्निकल स्टाफ और क्लिनिकल अकाउंटेंट स्टाफ का, ताकि वो रिकॉर्ड के हिसाब से अपने क्षेत्र में किसी का अंत्योदय का कार्ड बनना है, किसी कोई आवास विहीन है, किसी को इस टाइप से, और हर महीने प्रत्येक वार्ड मेंबर के साथ बैठक होनी चाहिए, ताकि बैठक होने के बाद प्रोग्रेस रिपोर्ट ऑफ बाकी सब आपने दिए गए।
thank you for the suggestion. We shall take note of this.
स्टाफ प्लीज, स्टाफ ग्राम पंचायत स्तर पे
Now we have everyone has heard. Okay, you need not repeat.
और रिकॉर्ड रूम,
You need not repeat. We shall take note of that. Thank you. Now standing committees and their empowerment. On presentation mode, please. Go to the presentation mode. Next. This is an area which is probably the most critical at the time. In many Gram Panchayats, there are standing committees in paper only. Although, if you ask, are you a member of this standing committee? Many people are not aware. That means they are not functional, let alone being fully functional, not functional. How to make them functional? Provisions relating to standing committees are conspicuously absent in the Constitution. The group has come out with this thought. Hence, amendment in the Constitution required to make standing committees mandatory, to make rules for their functioning and strict guidelines. In some states they are there, in many states they are not there. Clear vision, rules and guidelines to be framed. Rules, guidelines, SOPs for accountability should be established. And this group has come out with a suggestion for constitutional amendment. The Panchayat Committee, after this under 243 definitions, after G, village, one point can be added as H, as Panchayat Committee, which should be defined as subordinate committee to Panchayats to enable the Panchayats to perform the powers or authority and responsibility of Panchayat. It is up to the ministry to take it up. How should standing committees take mandate from and report on actions taken by them in Gram Sabha? Standing committees should be the connecting link between Panchayat and Gram Sabha. The mandate to constitute standing committees should flow by the relevant law made by the state government in respect of 29 subjects. Wherever Gram Sabhas are, standing committees are functional, this is already there. There are some states where, if not all, but quite large number of the standing committees in whatever name are functional. Proceedings should be uploaded digitally to the portal. Selection of all beneficiaries should happen in Gram Sabha only. So that is a linkage between Gram Sabha and standing committee. Measures to ensure transparency and accountability, everything should be put before Gram Sabha public domain. So Gram Sabha happens to be the most powerful organization, and that is what it should be. All decisions of standing committees should be published on notice boards. Performance-based performance audit of standing committees. When either internal audit or statutory audit, they take note of it, but special audit has to be done, or audit has to be done with special care. Mechanisms for collaboration among different standing committees. Normally, right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. So we have seen standing committees, so they work in isolation. How to achieve effective collaboration among them and joint actions between them or more standing committees. Means of developing relationship among standing committees, apex body of the panchayat and village committees. In many states, there is an apex body in every tier panchayat. For instance, in Rajasthan, so far as I know, there is a coordination committee which functions the job of collaboration among all the things. But majority of the members of the coordination committee are not aware that they are members of that committee. I saw it in at least 12 Gram Panchayats in Rajasthan. Means of developing relationship among standing committees, organic linkage between standing committees may be strengthened. Village level committees must be subsumed under the standing committees. The committees, for instance, floated under SBM Jal Jeevan Mission, they must be subsumed in the respective standing committees. There are multiple committees, parallel committees. So they need to be integrated into this, subsumed into this. That is the suggestion. Concerned standing committees should meet before the meeting of the apex committee, and relevant functions proposed should be presented and vetted by the standing committees. How to ensure participation in line departments? Issue is the same. Directions to line departments, directions are already there, but things don't happen. So how to do that? By counseling, by going there, by approaching them, maybe like that. Formation of rules for directing line department officers to come to various standing committees and disciplinary actions. So this is the suggestion. The group suggests for being a little tough. Provisions for a steering committee in every panchayat with chairpersons of standing committees, subcommittees. This is the apex committee, and apex committee will coordinate and collaborate and coordinate and achieve collaboration among all these. Act is there, but in some states, rules have not yet been formed for functioning of the standing committees. Other provisions for making standing committees functional, meetings should be held once in a month. Special invitees or experts can be invited without voting rights. In some state panchayat acts, there is provision for this. This can be emulated by others. Provision should be there for CBOs, SHGs in standing committee meetings, of course without voting rights. Provision should be there for CBOs, SHGs to give suggestions, report and reflect the people's needs and aspirations, which can be included in GPTV. Provision should be there for exercise of financial power by standing committees. For example, since I am from West Bengal, GP level standing committees can plan for and implement activities up to rupees 25,000 in each case, not in a year, in each case. That means they can go up to 25 lakh or any amount. In case of intermediate panchayat, it is 1 lakh, and in case of Zilla panchayat, it is 3 lakh per scheme. It is in the act. So this kind of financial power gives them an incentive. That is why in West Bengal, most of the standing committees are functional, and some of them are fully functional. This can be taken as a good practice. How to establish symbiotic relationship among standing committees and three-tier panchayats by creating organic linkage, by sharing of responsibility, joint meetings at block level with chairpersons of the standing committees, quarterly meetings of all standing committees at block and district levels, and review programs on relevant issues. So interaction everywhere, everyone is talking of interaction and integration. Coming to PRI SHG conversion. Yes, please.
Can you please explain the difference between the ethics committee and the steering committee?
It is the same, having a different name. For instance, in Rajasthan, it is coordination committee. In West Bengal, it is an apex committee. It is called plan and it is planning committee, planning and establishment.
We will take up the questions after the presentation. Let it be finished. Thank you.
How can SHGs and the federations, village organizations and cluster level federations develop a symbiotic relationship with GP to work together? A lot of discussions are going on. We are currently working on one. Earlier we prepared one, this thing, but the group has come up with some beautiful suggestions. GPs and SHGs must be sensitized to work hand in hand together to resolve the issues of the communities. This togetherness is missing. Hand in hand is missing. That is why they work in isolation. Grading of GPs, as SHGs are graded, based on GP-SHG linkage for assessment and fund release. Ensuring at least 50% SHG members' participation in Gram Sabha can help in better relationship. Symbiotic relationship to ensure improving the human development aspects which bring people together and near. Better relationship ensures local economic development activities and higher order achievements. How can GPs provide support to SHGs and their federations? How can GPs provide support? There is another slide. How can SHGs provide support to GPs? They are mutually inclusive. Offering office space for SHGs to function in Panchayat Bhavans, community health, etc. In many Gram Panchayats in our country, it is there. But if it can happen at some places, why not everywhere? Managing help desk by SHGs at GPs offices. Promotion of one Panchayat, one product in the lines of ODOP can provide better coordination among SHGs and GPs. To provide support for establishment of SHG stalls in Gram Sabha, community gathering, marketplace or wherever it is possible. How can SHGs and the federations support in functioning of the GPs? The reverse side. Participating in Mohila Sabhas conducted prior to Gram Sabha, SHGs to ensure participation of the children in Bal Sabha. Mobilization of community members for Gram Sabhas by SHGs. VPRP should be prepared and submitted to GP prior to Gram Sabha, including VPRP in course of preparation of GPDP, not at the end of it, which is currently functioning. Now VPRP is prepared and taken to the final Gram Sabha to add to it as an appendix. They are not integrated. So we are now working under leadership of Director General how to achieve real convergence. What resources can a GP share with the SHGs? First, they should share with them the resource envelope to inform SHGs about the schemes and programs which can be utilized in VPRP. Contracting services works to SHGs wherever possible. And GPs can provide human resources such as Secretary Rozgar Sevak to help SHGs. Priority and allocation of funds to VPRP activities by including in GPDP. And GPDP and VPRP, there should be one plan, not two plans, one integrated plan. Like the plans of all line departments integrated in GPDP, that should be there. But still there is a feeling that VPRP should be a different plan. It can be a different plan, but it has to be integrated. So in Gram Panchayat, every Gram Panchayat, there shall be one plan, that is GPDP, integrated GPDP. How can SHGs and the federations support in preparation of GPDP? Performing the role of facilitators, assisting GPs in collection of data, supporting in environment creation through different activities, IC activities, actively participating in discussion during prioritization activities of Gram Sabha, so that their issues are also considered. Assisting GPs in timely implementation and effective monitoring of GPDP, social audit, playing active role in ensuring quality and effective service delivery. How can line departments help in preparation of VPRP, which is very unlikely? Look, line departments should conduct workshops for effective dissemination of activities, schemes, etc., which rarely happen. A fantastic suggestion. Communicating the existing list of beneficiaries for better preparation of BPRP, and line departments should make available at least 25% of the IC funds administrative cost for awareness creation and related activities at the GP level through GP and GPLF. What mediating roles can GP play in providing support to SHGs and their federations? If SHGs approach the line department, very difficult to get access. What if GP mediates with their political authority, with their constitutional authority, then it can happen with a little ease. How can a GP utilize the services of SHGs, their federations? As PIA, GP can deploy SHG or the federation as its project implementing agencies. We know in many Gram Panchayats, GPs implement Manrega schemes through SHGs, and result there is seen to be much better. So this kind of, in many other programs, this can be done. Mid-day meal, these are happening, but this can happen, should happen more broadly. How to sustain GP SHG convergence? Through work only and good relation. This relationship can sustain once it is established. How can GP SHG convergence impact the functioning of upper tier panchayats? Here also, SHGs have their upper tier federations. Better GPDPs and convergence of GP SHGs will help in better BPDP and DPDP. So if we think of integration among plans of 3 tiers, we have to think of SHGs and upper tier federations. Effective participation of block and district level SHG federations in preparation of BPDP and DPDP. Coming to the last part, MLA Panchayat interface. What should be the role of MLA or member of Legislative Council? In some states, MLC is there to attend, convene Sarpanch meetings regularly to understand the gaps and needs of GPs, to communicate the referral activities to block, district or state level, to oversee overall activities of GPs without interference. That is the $1 million word, interference. Without interference. To motivate coordination between line departments and GPs to function together, which is not happening at a desirable level, but it must happen for overall development. What can be the role of an MLA or MLC in functioning of intermediate district panchayats? MLAs and MPs are ex officio members of the district. Some of them are in the DPC. DPC is not that functional. But what they can do, they can motivate all the blocks and districts, Sabhas can attend regularly. Timely monitoring of preparation and submission of action plans at block level, they can motivate this. And they can also have data of GPs of all sectors under her or his jurisdiction, to monitor fund flow and intervene as required, to coordinate inter-GP work, to facilitate functioning of standing committees. There are quite some MLAs who do it regularly with a real positive attitude, but it can happen, it should happen everywhere. What should be the ideal role of an MLA or MLC in a Gram Sabha? Should attend without negatively influence the Gram Sabha. And from Kerala experience, we have seen that the Chief Minister is sitting on the floor along with other members as a citizen, not as a Chief Minister. Many things, at many places, this is happening. This should happen to show that they may be a minister or chief minister or an MLA or MP, but a member of the Gram Sabha. As a knowledge tank, keeps a lot of information, to utilize that for planning and development purpose, to give inputs where policy interventions are required. What should be the ideal role of an MLA or MLC in Block Sabha? To attend Block Sabha and the same without negatively influencing, and also to mediate with for CSR support. To oversee that the interest of the issues of the backward sections are properly addressed. Almost there is no one to do this, at least the MLA should do it. To instruct line departments, he can instruct line departments to integrate their activities in BPDP. And more or less the same in district Sabha. What should be the do's and don'ts for an MLA no interference, let them function as democratic bodies. But in many cases, MLAs think that panchayats are a competitive power centers. So that is why one should grab them. So they should be oriented properly. What should be their role? Must not control the process of planning, critical gap filling, no hijacking of the functioning of panchayat to maintain political neutrality. Very difficult because they are political persons, still they are people's representatives. Should do this. How can an MLA help in removing bottlenecks? By bringing coordination, convergence, obtaining administrative financial approvals from higher authorities. If MLA asks a department, it happens easily to provide support for integration of GPDP, BPDP, DPDP. What should be the ideal of an MLA? As institutions of self-government, should encourage democratic environment in functioning of. If an MLA talks of democratic environment in Gram Sabha or in functioning panchayat, it becomes very significant. We may sometimes doubt, can it happen? Yes, it can happen. With permission from the chair, I will just cite one small example, taking 1 more minute. Take up long pending issues and unresolved local issues and challenges with district and state administration. Here he should propagate for economic development and social justice through planning and for implementation of activities in terms of the 11th schedule. But very unfortunately, majority of the MLAs are not aware about the Panchayati Raj system and how they should function. I just cannot resist myself from giving an example. When I was Joint Secretary, Dr. M. N. Rai was Principal Secretary at that time, we used to have regular meetings with MLAs, workshops with MLAs in Assembly House and separately at many places. So counseling and orientation. And when we conduct workshop, their behavior changes. So this is proven fact for me. I strongly believe that if we talk with them, one-to-one dialogue may not help. But in a workshop where MLAs of different political parties are there, it can happen, it has happened, if not everywhere, but in most cases. So, thank you so much, sir.
So we can take up 2-3 questions because we already, sir, you would like to, one question was there.
I'll answer all the questions.
Sir, did he ask?
I'll answer.
It's not a question to add on to this, to the Gram Sabha. There is one additional suggestion from the group, sir. I would like to put before the chair.
Yeah, go ahead. Please go ahead.
There should be a monitoring mechanism, like whatever the planning has been done at the Gram Sabha, there should be a robust monitoring mechanism for every 3 months, 6 months, where they stand and why they are not able to achieve or why the things are not being done by the Sarpanch. There should be a monitoring mechanism and what has to be done to complete the things even after 1 year, why they are unable to do. So this was the suggestion from our group, subgroup 3. I want to put before the committee.
Before I request Panidhar to put his question, if the other members, if you think that some point is missed out, you are welcome to tell that. Mr. Panidhar.
One observation just I want to make here. When we talk about Gram Sabha, for all the 3 governments, you have a central government, you have a state government, you have local government. The local government is very nearer to the people. But of the 3, this is the weak government. But everybody felt that it should be it should be strengthened to deliver services, not only to deliver services, to empower the people. In the 75 years, what we have seen in this country, we have actually oriented our people as not as citizens, but as beneficiaries. The concept of beneficiary is very strong in the minds of the people. So all the 3 governments have to deliver something, we can get benefit. So if a government has to function in a democratic way, where you find you need citizens, not beneficiaries. But in this country, unfortunately, we have not created such a kind of culture. At the dawn of independence, there was a small book written by Vinoba Bhave, Swaraj Sastra. What are all the requisite qualifications to become citizens in this country? It is not legal citizen. You have a social citizen, political citizen, cultural citizenship. Unless you develop such a kind of culture, it is very difficult, number one. Number two, when you create a local body, I mean, this is actually not a leader-centric, local body. Previously, it was local-centric. It is now people-centric. Then it is participation-centric. Apart from this, rights-centric. Revolutionary rights have been given to the people. But unfortunately, they are not in a position to take those rights, by which they can empower themselves. So totally what has to be done, in my opinion, Gram Sabha is there, the citizenship culture has to be developed. How such a kind of culture? Because lot of responsibilities are assigned with them, but they are not taking responsibility because you are saying again and again, you are beneficiaries, be a beneficiary. If benefits are not being given to you, be a petitioner, submit petition submissively, we look after it. So in that context, unless such a kind of culture is developed in this country, whatever may be our adumbrations and our lofty ideals, it won't work. One more observation just I want to make. Central government and state governments, till the passage of 73rd Amendment, they were not sleeping. They have done something. But who got opportunity to get benefits out of all those schemes and programs of the central and state? A particular segment. But it has not reached all the segments. But the new local government has to reach the unreached. That is why I said economic development and social justice. So in that context, who are all the marginalized? And they have to be oriented powerfully, and the empowerment of Gram Sabha is more important, where what is a culture has to be developed, citizenship culture. In many of the places what we found, collecting petitions, submitting to the again district collector, in such a way it goes, so such a kind of culture has to be created, for which a new mechanism has to be developed. And in my opinion, there are now, the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan is in action. So all the educational institutions have to be roped in, and such a kind of culture has to be created. Citizenship, building initiative has to be taken.
Sir, there was one more question was there from.
Yes, madam.
It's not a question, sir. It's like a kind of suggestion that we need to build some kind of. We need to build some kind of linkage between the Gram Sabha Standing Committee and Panchayat resolutions. I think that it is missing here, sir.
Okay, I'll answer that also. I think you wanted to ask.
Sir,
That
one more
we will
question.
talk.
One more question. This is Mr. Reddy. Basically, I'm a retired ZP CEO and worked as consultant to SID Telangana for about 10 years. Sir, in the recent 2018 TGPR Act, we have proposed some quorum for the Gram Sabha. Is there any recommendation from your group with regards to the quorum?
Okay.
So this is the last question,
Sir.
because
Yes. Okay, I'll answer that.
Sir, I am asking about is there any recommendation with regards to the
I'll
quorum
answer
for
all
Gram
the
Sabha?
questions
Right.
together. Yeah, I'll.
सर एक सुझाव मेरा भी था, सजेशन था, जैसे कि केरल में ग्राम सभा में प्रत्येक महीने बैठक होती है, तो ग्राम सभा की अपनी कैबिनेट है, तो वार्ड मेंबर के हिसाब से प्रत्येक माह बैठक हो और उनको टीएडीए की व्यवस्था हो, तो बड़ी पारदर्शिता और दूरदर्शी कार्य योजना बनेंगी। जो विकास का ब्लूप्रिंट है वो हर वार्ड के प्रत्येक माह में उसकी प्रोग्रेस रिपोर्ट भी आएगी, चाहे 29 विभागों की प्रोग्रेस रिपोर्ट है, तो वो रिकॉर्ड अच्छा हमारे लोगों का इस हिसाब से होगा। तो ये मेरा सुझाव है कि कम से कम ऐसे कंपलसरी कर दी जाए कि प्रत्येक महीने प्रत्येक ग्राम सभा की बैठक हो अपने वार्ड मेंबरों के साथ, ताकि विकास के जो हमारे अवधारणा है वो अंतिम छोर में बसे हुए व्यक्ति को मिले, कि उससे क्या होगा कि जो आवास विहीन आदमी है उसका नाम आएगा, विधवा पेंशन किसको मिलनी चाहिए वो पारदर्शिता से आ जाएगा, किसको अंत्योदय कार्ड बनना है वो पारदर्शिता से आ जाएगा, जो पात्र व्यक्ति होगा उसको उसका लाभ मिलेगा। एक सुझाव था। दूसरा सुझाव मेरा था कि हम लोग निर्वाचित होते ही तुरंत प्रशिक्षण वार्ड मेंबर तक को मिलना चाहिए। कई स्टेट ऐसे होते हैं 2 साल बाद या 3 साल बाद उनको जो है प्रशिक्षण देते हैं, तब तक तो टाइम ही निकल जाता है, क्योंकि जो नवनिर्वाचित लोग होते हैं उनको एप्लीकेशन लिखना भी नहीं आता है कि कौन से विभाग से कौन सी योजना का हम लाभ ले सकते हैं। तो ये 2-3 सुझाव मेरे हैं, तो सर ये प्लीज़ ये तो कंपलसरी कर दीजिएगा, कैबिनेट की जो उनकी ग्राम सभा की बैठक है प्रति माह हो जाए, उनके TADA हो जाए, और इससे पहले जो मैंने कहा था कि स्टाफ ग्राम सभा का भी होना चाहिए, टेक्निकल स्टाफ, क्लरिकल स्टाफ, ताकि रिकॉर्ड रहे, रिकॉर्ड से उसको पता चल जाएगा किसको विधवा पेंशन मिलनी है, किसको नहीं मिलनी है।
आप सुन लीजिए।
ठीक है, धन्यवाद, थैंक यू।
Sir, only last one, no one talked. MLA PRI interference. I also work for video as a 6 year. Sir, we have in Maharashtra, we have a Aam Sabha. We have a very good coordination between MLAs and Panchayat Samiti. And every year, there is a Aam Sabha at the end of the year, where all line departments, Tahsildar, everyone will be there. It will help us, Panchayat Samiti, also for getting the support of all others and to take forward.
Now, before I answer the questions, I want to say one thing. Whatever has been presented by my colleague is not my view or his view. These are the views given by the participants in the program. Since Professor Panditray and a few others were not members of the group, probably those points were not taken in. Now we will take them in also. How to develop citizenship approach. What should be the... Now there are questions relating to the group, whether it was discussed or not. About the quorum, there was no discussion, because it is generally felt if you are active, more people will come. See, whether you should put this 10%, 20% quorum and counting the number, then who will count the number? Whether the Panchayat President will do it or the accountant will do it, it is not necessary at all. Now, whether there is quorum or not, whoever comes, the approach will be to have more and more people participating in that. How to make a Gram Sabha attractive? That is what they were discussing. So we did not get into the question of quorum. And as I said, in my personal opinion, quorum may not be necessary. But if you think in your state it is required, otherwise nobody will come. See, my point is, if the program is attractive, people will come. If the program is not attractive, even if you put quorum, fellows will come and sleep just to make your number. Therefore, I would say, make the program attractive. That is my answer. Now, about these questions of standing committee. See, in some states, there are half a dozen standing committees. And each standing committee has a different chairman, one among the members. Now, these 6 people have to have some kind of a coordination. So, what my friend mentioned as Apex committee was, it is a committee consisting of the chairpersons of the standing committees. Now, in some states, there is no Apex committee. The Gram Panchayat itself functions as an Apex committee. But if the number is very small, supposing the Gram Panchayat has got only 10 members, and if you already have some 5 standing committees, maybe the Gram Panchayat itself can be the Apex body. But if it is large, maybe you can have a small Apex committee consisting of the chairpersons of the standing committee. So that was the second thing. And as I mentioned, in the entire proceedings yesterday, I did not say a single word. My members of the group will certify that I did not open my mouth at all. I had allowed them to say, see, the problem with the bureaucracy is we think we know everything and we deliver a lecture. I did not do that. So whatever has come is their view, some of which I may not agree. So I thought, to give an example, you should have 6 meetings of the Gram Sabha. I am not saying the number is not important. You will have some 2 statutory if you want to have on Gandhi Jayanti day, or some day you can do it. The remaining period, leave it to them to decide when to have. There may be a festival on that day you would like to have. So it depends on the individual area. You can only say that to please try and have some half a dozen meetings. That's all. And which date we should not prescribe. 1 or 2 you may prescribe, leave the rest to them. Similarly, about station house officer, I would not like the police to be anywhere near the Gram Sabha. That itself gives a negative thinking. That means that there is going to be some problem and the policeman should be there. Alert the policeman. Let him be in his station. If there is a problem, he can come in. If there is no problem, please keep him far away. I am generally scared, despite being a government officer, of the police as well as judiciary. If you get caught with them, your whole life will be spoiled on that. Therefore, please keep it separately. Other than that, I have nothing particular to say. If there are any questions, maybe we will discuss during the lunch break so that you can take the next group. Thank you very much once again. Thank you. I must thank Dr. Paul, who did the basic work. Actually, he has written all these things after getting the draft from the groups. So I must thank him for that. Thank you.